All right, hi everyone. Welcome to part six. Part six, we are back in Google Sheets. We're going to be working with the filter function. And the filter function is going to help us to create various tables, but filter out information we don't want and only display the information we do want. And in this, we're going to have sales by employee of a company by region. You can see here, we've got several different employees and what region they sell in, and how much they've sold worth of merchandise, or what service or whatever it is we sell. And here you can see, well, we're only displaying the US regions, and if you notice US regions here, you'll also notice this drop down list here where I can switch automatically to Asia, Canada, Brazil, or US, and it automatically filters out the information for me and creates a new table right here. So that's what we're going to be working with. This is what we're going to be creating. Not a lot of stylistic formatting choices. Some options you can change this week, but for the most part, we're just going to be introducing the idea of filters. Of course, there's several different filters we can do in Excel as well, but we're going to be hopping back and forth between Excel and Google Sheets for those first 6 parts. The rest of the parts, I believe, are all going to be in Excel though, after this part's done with. So let's take a look. This is the data you've got, just very plain: name, region, and sales. And so what we want to do to start is to copy this information and then open a new spreadsheet. So if we have a new spreadsheet, it looks like this. And just as a reminder on how to get to this, if we go from our main screen and we click on the Google Apps button, which is a 3x3 set of circles here, I can click on Sheets. I can then click on Blank, and it'll open up a new spreadsheet for us. So that's how we could get to a new spreadsheet. I'm going to close this tab out because I've already got one up for us. But once we have that information copied from our book here, we can then paste it over here. And I've got it, because I'd already been working on this sheet, it automatically changed this setting to currency for me. But as you paste the information in here, it's going to look like, I guess it's going to automatically do it for me still. But if I were to paste it somewhere else, this is what you would see normally. You're not going to see the dollar amount. So make sure that you set these as currency when you first get in. In fact, there. So this is how it's going to look. You can highlight these sales amounts and then click the dollar sign. Now they're set as currency. And then these top 3, we want to duplicate these top 3 and paste them over here, because we're going to have this filter show up right here for us. So let's do a few style choices. We've already changed this to currency. We can go ahead and these headers, I think we want to bold them and probably put probably underline on them as well. If you hold the control button and then click U, it's a shortcut for underline. Otherwise, there's editing options, but hold Control or Command and hit U, it's going to underline. Similarly, Control B or Command B is for bold. And then I think we want all of this to display in the centered. So if I wanted to click the entire sheet at once, I can click this top left box and it's going to highlight everything for me. And I just want all the data centered to make it a little easier to read. I think having everything show up like this once this filter starts. So that's the start of it. We've got our formatting done. We can maybe make this width a little bit narrower, and then let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a filter formula, and that's going to start with equals filter. And what we want to filter out is we want to filter this range, this entire table. So after you type filter, the first thing I want you to do is highlight this entire table. You can either left click and drag, or you can click once and then hold shift and then click the second spot. It'll do all of that. Or if you know what cells, A2, C11, you could just type in A2 colon C11. That would do it as well. But that's how we're going to start that. And then the next set is going to be the condition. And what we want is to filter just the regions right here. And so we're going to start, just to show you how this would work, is I want you to just set this to filter only US regions. So if we select the regions, B2 through B11, we can then say equals, and then open our quotation marks as we're dealing with text and not a value, and type US. And if I close my parentheses and hit enter, then what's going to happen is that it's going to display for me everyone from the US. If I had typed in Canada, same thing would have happened. It would just display everybody from Canada. So that's the start of our filtering. But what if we wanted to create a way to easily switch between Canada, US, Brazil, and Asia without having to go in here and edit this, this option every single time? Well, for that, we could create a data validation drop-down list. So if we click this next top cell over here, or if we click anywhere over here, we could click, you know, anywhere off to the right side. I'm just going to put it right here, but we're going to click on data and then data validation. And we get an option to add a rule here. And the rule we're going to add, we're going to click on add rule. And the criteria is we want to have a drop down from a range. So we're going to click on drop down from range. We're applying that to I1. So that's why it's got sheet 1, which is the sheet we're on, and then I1. And then the criteria range we're going to select here. We can either click here and then drag and drop, or we could click in this cell and drag. But we're going to click this range right here. We want to click the region. So it's going to create a drop down list from a range. Click OK. And then we can hit done. So once again, that was, just to show it one more time, we're going to go to, from an empty cell, data validation, create a new rule, and that rule is going to be drop down from range. The range is going to be the regions, not the word region. And we don't want the word region to be on a drop down list, just the, it's going to find every unique value within that range. Click OK, and then click done. So now I can close this out, and if we click on this drop down, we're given US, Canada, Asia, Brazil, and I click on Canada, I click on US, and so on, and it's going to change just this drop down right here, right? It's not working with this, and that's because this list isn't set to change with a drop down anyway. It's set to just find Canada or just find US. But what I can do is I can go to where we've written the word Canada or written the word US. Now I can delete that out. And I want B2 to B11 to be cell I1, or whatever cell you put this little drop-down list in. You want to click on that cell. Now, if I hit enter, it's going to filter out Asia or Canada or Brazil or US. So all four of them are working, and it's sorting all of my salespeople by what region they're in, and then telling me how much sales they had. All right, nearly there. The next thing we want to do is, well, what if we only wanted it to show sales of a certain value? And so for that, we can actually create more than one filter in our filter function here. Right now, it's only set to filter out by region based on this drop-down list, right? But instead of that, we could actually add another filter. So what we have to do to add another filter is we have to actually put parentheses around our first one. So we are adding this open parenthesis that wasn't there before. And at the end of that, we're going to add an asterisk. And then what we want to do is we want only sales that are $10,000 or more. So we're going to open up another parentheses, and we're going to say C2 through C11 greater than 10,000. We're going to close out parentheses once, and you can see it highlights in gray because it's only closing the parentheses on this one argument. But what we want is for there to be parentheses around the entire formula here. So I'm going to actually add a second set of parentheses, and you can see this one, it tells you which parentheses it's closing by highlighting it in Google Sheets. So that's done. I can click enter, and now only the 10,000 or more sales from the US. So Brad, Greg, and Dan shows up, but Jody did not sell more than 10,000. So it's not displaying that person's name. Canada, we have two values. Only one of them is over 10,000. So Alice is showing up, but not Lisa, and so on. So that is the filter function. That's the entirety of what we are going to do. Whatever stylistic choices you want to add here are fine. If you want to put borders around here, you can. It's really tricky to get the borders to display here because as you change the values, there's borders around 1 or 2 or 3. So you could make a whole table and then have a bunch of empty ones. You could have other arguments as far as how the view goes, but for this one, not necessary. I just want you to end up with this one filter where it's showing the person's name by region if their sales are more than 10,000. That's the end goal. Again, this filter can be anywhere over here. I mean, this drop-down list can be anywhere over here. Make sure you change your name. It's gonna start by saying new sheet or sheet 1 here. Sales by region or some similar type of title is appropriate here. And then once again, we're going to make sure we have share on and shared to everyone from NSU. You need to be doing this on your NSU account. All of these assignments in Google Sheets, we want to share with anyone from NSU. And then you're going to copy this link into that form that you've created for yourself somewhere. And then when you submit your problem set that has all 6 of these problem sets on it, 3 of the problem sets are going to be submitted as 3 separate links to the 3 different Google Sheets parts of the assignment that you've created. So that is that, and we will see you on the next series of problem set parts. Thanks, everyone. That is it for part 1 of the class.